City zoos provide oases for endangered animals from all over the world. Large zoos, like arks, house a diverse concentration of animals that can't be found anywhere else. The breeding and reintroduction of endangered species is their goal. German zoos try their best to successfully raise the offspring of rare animals. What challenges must they overcome? Silent hunter. The cheetah, the fastest animal on land. Powerful and elegant. These young zoo cats are 10 months old. Every smell and every sound arouses their interest. Their environment is very different from the wilderness. Whereas their African cousins have already lost 3/4 of their habitat, these have nothing to fear. Large enclosures are important for their well-being. Cheetahs need space to run around. Privacy is just as important. The 3 daughters live alone with their mother. She leaves it to the adolescents to take apart the prey. By nature, cheetahs are fast eaters. In the wild, they cannot defend food against stronger lions and leopards. They learn early to get down to business and divide up their meal. The mother makes sure everyone gets some. Zoos are no substitute for nature. But in many cities, the enclosures in the middle of old parkland are adapted to the animals' needs to the extent possible. Sometimes visitors can even reach zoos by boat. In the past, zoos focused on the wishes of the visitors. Roofs were built over hiking trails. Animals were locked behind bars. Today, zoos try to allow people to get as close to the animals as possible. Less concrete and more green is one goal. Encouraging lots of offspring is another. This little black and white ruffed lemur is venturing outdoors for the first time. Because of the wild crows overhead, he and his siblings have had to stay indoors for quite a while. Small lemurs quickly end up as fodder for the blackbirds. The mother gives the all clear. It's almost time for their climbing lesson. On the African island of Madagascar, their wild cousins live high up in the treetops. Those who were born in cages have to learn to climb. This is how to do it. The tail is used for balance, especially when jumping. The environment outside seems ideal, doesn't it? No danger. But not everyone dares. The smallest one retreats. Time for the mother to get involved. She wears her baby like a shawl, carrying him towards adventure. A tightrope act at lofty heights. Adult ruffed lemurs have no enemies here that prey on them. Unlike in nature, in the zoo they dare to walk on the ground. Their outing has made them hungry. The young are suckled for 4 months and grow quickly. Ruffed lemurs have already been successfully reintroduced from zoos to protected rainforests in Madagascar. But these fellows will stay in the zoo. As ambassadors for wild members of the species, they are meant to make visitors aware that lemurs only live in endangered habitats in East African Madagascar. 90% of the forests in Madagascar have been cleared. Safe guardianship is thus all the more important for the survival of the species. A very rare animal hides in a number of aquariums around the world. It looks like a being from another planet. The Lake Pátzcuaro salamander. It lives in one single Mexican lake. When the creatures nearly went extinct, divine intervention ensured their survival. Nuns have bred the amphibians for more than 100 years to produce cough syrup from their gland secretions, and the nuns introduced the animals to zoos. In captivity, the salamander proves to be voracious and impulsive. In the wild, they even prey on small fish and crabs by sucking them in at lightning speed. For a long time, all this eating meant that little was happening in terms of offspring. But then, to everyone's surprise, the salamanders laid eggs. To prevent the gluttonous amphibians from eating their own spawn out of sheer greed, caretakers removed the eggs and placed them in a safe tank. A few larvae have developed from them. Though this is seldom successful, it is important in order to save the small wild population of only 100 animals. Over at the cheetah residence, the cubs are growing up well. They only keep in contact with their father next door through the fence. In the wild, he would also rarely show his face. In nature, the cats find each other on their own. Zoos, however, have to exchange animals to make sure sparks fly. Stud books ensure that related cats don't mate. In the zoos, cheetahs are protected against enemies, and food is delivered right to their mouths. Lazing around would be so easy. But the caretakers keep the kittens on the go, with surprises. Cheetahs have excellent senses. Even in the zoo, they keep their eye on the unusual object above them, despite their playful mood. There are around 10,000 zoos worldwide. Most of them are located in large cities. The first zoo was already established in the mid-18th century. Since then, the parks have continually evolved. For a long time, bars and narrow cages predominated, a relic of a time when it was more important to showcase wild animals instead of providing them with a species-appropriate environment. Expensive remodeling to facilitate larger and greener enclosures is taking place almost everywhere. The bars are disappearing, and animals are enjoying more space. The Bennett's wallaby is very popular with the visitors. Zoos often feature this Australian species. So, is it nothing special? There it is. An albino. And something is going on in its pouch. Baby, in the original colour. For 3 months now, the little fellow has lived in his mother's pouch, where he is safe from potential enemies. It easily makes friends in the zoo because the albino mum with the brown-furred baby is an attraction. The wallaby enclosure can be entered by visitors, though petting is not allowed. Albinos have a congenital absence of skin pigment. However, because these genes are rarely expressed, the child of a brown father is brown. A nestling in the pouch. This could hardly be easier for the caretakers. They don't have to worry about raising this little zoo dweller. Only at the zoo can you go from Australia's animal world to Africa's in just a few steps. The meerkat group breeds 2 or 3 times a year. Only the high-ranking queen is permitted to have offspring. The world outside their den is still uncharted territory for these 3 cubs. They have only been venturing out for a few days. Members of the group help each other to raise the young. The young learn from the old by watching them how to catch and kill. The zoo provides the lively South Africans with a number of hiding places, ideal for the curious explorers. Meerkats don't live in the zoo because they're endangered. They are there because they appeal to visitors. Nature has endowed them with a great talent for comedy. The mother has to keep a constant eye on the merry lot, and this takes its toll. The Queen's siesta allows the little princes and princesses to take some refreshment. Meerkats are social animals. Physical contact reinforces their cohesion. Not every animal grows up in an extended family. Single children run the risk of becoming homebodies. Meanwhile, the little wallaby is 5 months old, and it is positively bursting at the seams of the pouch. The heavy load is becoming a burden for the mother. She indicates that it's time for her child to leap out into the future, but it doesn't really want to, though playmates are waiting outside. It's time for the baby to drink less milk and eat more grasses and herbs. Involuntary weaning begins. Standing on its own 2 feet seems to overwhelm the youngster. But there's no turning back now. The mini hopper is now having his first experiences on his own. Naturally, the mother stays close by. Enough for today. Back to the pouch down under. This will continue until the marsupial is 1 year old and has to move out for good. Wild animals also make their home in zoos. Free-ranging white storks aim for this zoo in Western Germany. The old oaks are the destination of migratory birds that are returning from their wintering grounds in the south. They immediately occupy nests from previous years, but they are not alone. Their domicile is located in a monkey forest. 20 to 30 Barbary macaques live there in a fenced-off oak grove. Over 100 nesting pairs of storks make the zoo their breeding ground. They find everything they need for their eyrie in the treetops. The Barbary macaques, which originate in North Africa, spend a lot of time on the ground, while the birds are busy with nest repairs at lofty heights. The zoo's dissimilar inhabitants rarely get in each other's way. The storks quarrel amongst themselves instead. Here, the birds live unusually close to each other. They beat and stab each other over breeding sites and nesting material using their beaks. At the start of the breeding season, all the nests are permanently assigned, and peace returns. The wild animals integrate into zoo life in an exemplary manner. Zoos are not only reserves for animals, they often protect many old trees. The natural vegetation protects animals from the sun and provides many hiding places. Modern zoos only keep animals if they can provide them with enough space. The goal is to build enclosures that emulate the animals' habitats as realistically as possible. In this way, a refuge that is otherwise found in the Ethiopian highlands can exist under European treetops. Under these circumstances, it is also possible to keep rare animals. Geladas, a baboon species that wears its magnificent hair like a heavy coat. This troop, living in Western Germany, is the largest group of these primates outside Africa. They have been successfully reproducing here for decades. The troop forms a genetic resource for the species, which is endangered in the wild. Geladas are also called bleeding heart monkeys because of the hairless patches on their chests. Because the nipples of the females are very close together, the babies can suckle on both teats at the same time, a distinctive feature. The youngsters grow up in monkey kindergartens, where they learn the rules of coexistence from each other, like in the wild. Geladas are increasingly endangered in the Ethiopian highlands because the grass steppes are being converted into farmland. The females keep the horde of little ones together. The multi-age gang wants to explore the world. There is always monkey business when geladas are involved. mothers put an end to the shenanigans. Like in nature, life in the zoo doesn't only have sunny sides. This female separates from the group to mourn her dead child. The caretakers give the mother time until she can let go by herself. Zoos are no more a paradise than the wild. Yet, unlike in nature, veterinarians in the parks can help sick animals and prolong their lives. The largest ruff colony of any zoo worldwide lies in the Gelada's neighborhood. Ruffs are members of the snipe family and love wet meadows and mud. All of them have brown feathers. But in mating season, the males develop decorative collars with which they try to impress the females. This splendid plumage is not enough on its own. The gentleman birds must do more to please the ladies. Ruffs have a peculiar strategy. Dominant males make peace with a chosen rival, a so-called satellite male. The reason will become clear later. But a territorial male does not tolerate other competitors. Trouble is brewing in the arena, which leads to spirited dances. The females follow the duels with interest. Each selects one to mate with later. Once the intruder is traced away, the dominant male turns to his chosen rival and seeks his support. Afterwards, both have more success with females willing to mate. Researchers don't yet know why. The ruffs live in their aviary with other waterfowl. Their trademarks are their pointed beaks, which could prove dangerous to ruff chicks leaving their nests. The many birds in the aviary cannot avoid one another. Thus, the zoo does not entrust the bird mothers with the care of their chicks. Shortly before they hatch, caretakers remove the eggs from their hiding places and brood them in an incubator. Zoos are trying to intervene in the rearing of animals as little as possible. But there is no alternative here, and for a few days, the warm red light replaces the feathers of the mother bird. Here they are safe from being pecked by large neighbors in the enclosure. After 10 days, the chicks go in search of food in a separate enclosure set up specially as their kindergarten. In the wild, ruffs are becoming rare. Zoos provide an important refuge for this unusual bird species. When they are fully grown, they are given to other zoos that are involved in breeding the scrappy birds. By the summer, the wild storks next door have raised many chicks without human assistance. They circle over the zoo because they know that a spectacle is about to take place on the ground. Every afternoon, there is a great confluence of storks, here in the heart of Europe. Mealtime, and the storks join in. But many other wild animals also benefit from the regular food supply in zoos. 30 birds like it so much here that they stay in the zoo during winter. The others migrate south in autumn and return to the land of easy food and lodgings the following year. There's no hustle and bustle in zoos at night. Time for intimate moments of retreat. There is something happening in the rhinoceros house. The night vision camera reveals a baby rhino being born. After 17 months in his mother's belly, the world welcomes a healthy male. Three months later, he has grown and is exploring his environment, the white rhino way. Not a single blade of grass grows where the heavy creatures make their daily rounds. They can weigh up to 2 tons. But the ground is good for cooling down, and also for getting rid of pests in a mud bath. No milk is forthcoming when Mum is at the spa. Traders were still catching wild animals for the zoos just 50 years ago. Today, zoos must ensure the survival of species by breeding them. Baby rhinos are still something special. By exchanging animals and transporting them across continents, zoos ensure the greatest diversity in the genetic material of the animals they look after. This is the only way to keep populations fit for the future. Many zoos specialize. For example, with its successful breeding program, the large German city of Dortmund has become the world capital of anteaters in human care. These beings look like they come from another planet. Unlike in their home in South America, they must spend the European winter in a heated nursery for warmth. Caretakers must look after this baby 5 times a day. The mother is not providing enough milk. This is a challenge because the baby needs something to cling to as a substitute for fur. One caretaker holds it while another feeds it. The zoo mother is used to the procedure. Her lively backpack is always returned to her, full to the snout. Three months later, when temperatures rise and it's as warm as in the pampas, the youngster gets to piggyback outside. There aren't any termites. Instead, there's a mash of many ingredients that is hidden in the enclosure. They need scratching posts to sharpen their claws too. The single mother would also use hers for protection against the child's father, who is better off staying in his own enclosure for now. A pool entices the mother to engage in personal hygiene. The clingy offspring on her back does not like this at all. Her goal is to stay on top and dry as long as she can. The tactic does not work. The zoo baptism is successful. Its discoverer called it the most beautiful mammal on Earth, and it can be found high above the ground. The red panda is a teddy bear come to life, with button eyes and plush fur. It likes bamboo best, the way it grows in Himalayan mountain forests. He notices that she is eating large quantities of bamboo, more than usual. There must be a reason. And here it is. Two young cubs are slumbering in this nursery. Born nearly hairless and blind, they remained well protected in the dark for a long time. 8 weeks later, they already resemble their parents. The mother must eat a lot to provide milk for the cubs. Occasionally, the female bear carries them back and forth between different hollows. This is natural behavior that confuses enemies and eliminates parasites. The male refrains from raising the offspring. Red pandas are solitary. The mother almost always takes care of the little ones alone. He remains a silent observer. After the excursion, they are back in their concrete home. For 3 months, the cubs stay almost entirely in the cave. Though their Asian habitat is dwindling and little bears are poached there for their fur, in zoos they are not exposed to danger. On the contrary, zoos collect money for conservation measures on behalf of their animals' wild counterparts. The little red pandas go on their first excursions and immediately practice climbing. They use their strong paws and their tail to keep balance amongst the branches. The father is tolerated. The parents get along better in the confines of the zoo than in the wild. And yet all family members must first get used to one another. Trees in European parks are good substitutes for Himalayan vegetation. However, the thin branches pose a challenge for inexperienced climbers. High temperatures far from home can be very hard on the mountain dwellers. This is one reason they sleep nearly the entire day, high amongst the shady treetops. They don't realize what is going on down below. The horns of the little rhino have grown. The compact baby is now increasingly separating from his mother. He is now more preoccupied with things in his environment, almost like in Africa. The young animal learns the rules of the game by growing up in the group. How far can he go, and where are the limits? The rowdy loves duels on his playground. An audacious showdown. 200 versus 2,000 kilos. The little rascal is treated tenderly by his relatives. Here there are no poachers targeting pachyderms for their horns. A little rhino can grow up to 50 years old at the zoo. Zoos never sleep. They live according to the rhythm of their inhabitants. The cheetah has just said goodbye to her 3 adult daughters. They now live in another zoo. Now there is room for the next generation. Two years after the last litter, the cheetah mother has 4 more cubs. They have been growing in their hiding place for 6 weeks and are now ready for adventures on the zoo savannah. mother remains vigilant, as she would in nature. She would not be able to defend her offspring against lions, leopards, or hyenas. The cubs' backs shimmer silvery white. On the savannah, this coat color protects them reliably from attackers. It will be some time before the cubs look like their mother. Cheetahs like to climb up on places that give them a better overview of their surroundings. In the wild, many dangers lurk for young cheetahs. Many die as a result of diseases, accidents, and enemies. Here in the zoo, they have a better chance of growing old. The siblings are regularly examined and vaccinated by the vet. Cheetahs do not climb as well as other cats. They cannot retract their claws. The offspring learn primarily by watching and imitating their mother, but that will be part of the next training session. For a long time, zoos around the world had great difficulty breeding cheetahs. They are very selective when it comes to choosing partners and cohabitants. It's best for the cubs to live alone with their mother, as they would in the African wilderness. Researchers have learned a lot from animals in zoos. They now know when to let female cats live with males and how to activate their love lives so they can produce offspring. Females that give birth for the first time at a young age breed better in the long run. It is also important for them to have little contact with males. This makes the occasional rendezvous all the more exciting and successful. These kittens provide hope that zoos will continue their successful preservation of the species in the future. Zoos cannot save the animal world on their own, but they make a significant contribution to ensuring that some species are not lost forever. Some animals will be released into the wild. Some will spend their lives in the zoo. But all of them are born to be wild.